Welcome to today's video, and this video is going to be on intensive introduction to version control with Git and GitHub. So, first thing first, in our last video, I think I explained what GitHub is and what it's used for. So, I said something about having a Google Cloud or iCloud account that helps you save your code up in the cloud without you like bombarding your system and go. That's not the only usefulness of Git and GitHub. So they call it version control. So when you say version control is an essential tool for any software developer that allows you to manage changes to your code, collaborate with others, and maintain a detailed history of your project's evolution. So what this is trying to tell is just explaining is just basic thing that okay, version control is a very important tool that helps you not to only be a local developer. Yeah, it's a kind of ecosystem. Yeah, I'll call it an ecosystem that helps you interact with other developers like you and help you to be organized, help you to collaborate with others, maintain a very detailed history and order arrangement of your code. That's just a basic definition of version control of your project. So Git is the most widely used version control system, and GitHub is the most popular platform for hosting Git repository. So in short, if you hear me say maybe Git repo, it's because pronouncing the repository is kind of too long, so we used to shorten it to git repo. So Git is also a version control system. It's a very widely used version control system, and there is one that is called GitHub, which is a popular platform for hosting the Git repo. Just like the way we have storage system, iCloud, Google Cloud. That's the same we have Git and others. But the most popular one is the Git, and the most popular one is the GitHub rather. So let me explain that again. So cloud storage, we have iCloud and we have Google Cloud. We have other clouds too, but the two are the most popular. So in software development too, we have a platform too that helps you save in the cloud too, like the cloud storage, which is Git. Git is just like cloud storage, and GitHub is just like iCloud or Google Cloud. I think you should understand now. So here are the in-depth understanding of Git and GitHub. So version control helps to keep track of changes made to files over time. It allows you to keep history of all your code changes. Now let's take for example, I made a change to this dot and we call it push, and I push to the cloud. Automatically, this dot change that I made, we save as a commit. Let me put it that way. You won't understand this for now until you start using it. So it saves as a commit somewhere there, and it has a unique name so that in case if there's an issue, even though you might have like push other changes and other things there, you'll be able to like know the track. You'll be able to like, okay, the this is the date I pushed this dot. Now let me go back and see that code. Then you can retrieve from that day. You can retrieve from that day to what? To the present moment. So that's just what it does. Helps you keep tracks of history, save your work without you having the fear of like losing your computer. Okay, let's example this computer gets spoiled or stolen. But in as much you've put your work on GitHub, you can have access to it anytime. In as much you have access to your account on the GitHub. So you can have access to it anytime, any day, anywhere. So collaborate. Now let's take for example, I have a project now and I have like six of my people from different states, one in the US, one in the UK, one in Germany, one in Nigeria. So and I decided, okay, let's work on a single project. But how do we do that? My code that I'm writing here and yours there is in the same place, and mine is not contradicting your own, Mine is not affecting your own, and yet my code and your code is used to build just a single project. Yeah, it might get complicated at this point, but don't worry. In as much you keep on with this learning, you will understand what I'm saying. So that platform helps you bring everything together, arrange it so that yours will not conflict with my own, yours will not override my own, yours will not affect my own without any break. So multiple people can work together on the same project without overwriting each other's work, as I explained earlier. And you can also revert to previous version. I said earlier that if I make changes to this dot and I need I shouldn't have made the change instead of me and maybe I already lose the normal file on the local. I can just go there and say, okay, this is the date that I made this change, and I see it there. This is the unique commit name. I'll be able to track it back and bring back the dot without anything, without any break. So JIT is a distributed version control system. Unlike the centralized system, every developer has a full copy of the repository, including the history of all changes on their local machine. So it's the same thing as I said. You have history of everything you've done. For every dot you remove, for everything you do, there's an history and there's a unique change that is being noted for on JIT. That's how it works. So what is JIT? JIT is a tool used to manage source code history. Simple. Keeps track of every change made. It's still the same explanation, just like we are going back, going back, going back again. So, key concepts: there is a repository, which is popularly called repo, as I explained earlier, a directory where JIT stores all your project files and history of their changes. Okay, now let me explain this. If I have a project called fast food and I have another one called agric, I have another one called engineering. So I can separately open a repo each for it, just like open a folder for each of these. So I will know that okay, this repo is for agric, this one is for engineering, and this one is for what? For health. So just like that. And I said something about commit the other time. So commit is just like a snapshot of a specific point in time. Now let me explain. I said there's a unique ID that is given to every commit. So if you make a dot and I save it, that's I commit it, it gives this code entirely a unique ID. If I make another changes removing the s now, it's and I commit that, it's open it separately, save that again, so that if I'm looking for the one that has dots, I don't need to be like, where can I find? I'll be able to like track it with this unique ID that I gave it. Okay, I'm not looking for the one that has S only, but I'm looking for the one that has the S and the dot. Am I communicating now? So that's just what the commit is used for. So the branch. Now, for a single project, we can have multiple people working on it. As I said earlier, that we can have tech, we can have agric. On that same tech, we can have multiple people working on it, and yet your work will not contradict each other. That one is called branch. So I can create a branch on a single repo. I can create different branch on a single repo, and that branch, each person will have his own branch, and they will be sending their work there, be pushing their work there, and each one of it will not contradict each other. That's basically an explanation of branch. Majorly, the first two branch that comes in is either main or master, and developers can create a new branch to work on features or fix bugs independently without affecting each other. That's the meaning of the independently. So I can create another branch of my personal name of any other thing I want, in as much is under that particular folder, there is no issue. So now we have merge. Now the merge is I have different branches. I have different branches now. I have main branch, I have master branch. As I said earlier, that branch you can push on different branches without it affecting each other. Then there's another features that is merge, which means I can merge my main with my master with whatever other branch I opened, and they will come together. Then staging area, that is a temporary area where changes can be stored before making a commit. That's just a simple definition of it. Just like, okay, maybe I want to keep this here. Maybe I want to put something inside a box later, but I still want to put it on a table before I put it in a box later. So that's just staging area means. Then working directory, the directory where you're currently working on your project file. These things are still going to be sounding like strange a little bit for you because you have not started working with it. But once you start working with it, you will understand every bit of it. So basic JIT workflow. How to start a JIT workflow. After installing your JIT and your GitHub and you're setting up your GitHub, you will start by initiating a repo, which is creating a new repo in your project folder. That is on the GitHub itself. You will create a new repo there. It's very easy. There will be a video separately that will explain this. So I think we should skip it, but I can just brush it off. So there will be you create a new repo on the GitHub, then come down to your local machine, then you now initiate it by git init, then track the change by git add, then the file name, then add to the changes by git add, then you can commit the changes by git commit, then describing your change, then you can push the others git push origin and the branch. So that's just a basic way to just put something from your local machine to the already made GitHub repo you've created on your GitHub. So that's just how to do it. But I will show you a practical example of how to do it in the next video. This video is just for the information aspect of what Git and GitHub is all about. So now, what is GitHub? GitHub is a cloud-based hosting platform for Git repository. So I've explained GitHub earlier, but we have to explain again to the more we explain things, the more it gets clearer. So cloud-based, like the high cloud, like the Google Cloud, that's just what it means. It's an hosting platform, a place where your Git repo stays. You can store it, can collaborate with other, maintain multiple files. It's still the same thing with what I've explained earlier. This is just a repetition and of what we've been explaining since. So it's just a repetition of what we've been explaining since. Then key feature, the same thing with the JIT, remote repository collaboration, pull request. Now, the pull request here, I've not explained it up here, but I've explained the collaboration aspect. You can team up, create separate branch there. So the pull request is just like, okay, now we have different developers working on the same project. And I want to know what the other person have done, but it's not on my local machine on my laptop yet, but it's on the cloud. It's on the same folder. He has pushed to the repo we created online globally. So, and I want to retrieve that one from him from the platform there up there in the repo. All I just need to just I'll do a pull request, which means I'll pull whatever it is he has done. I will collect the data of what he has done, then bring it down to my local machine. That's just the definition of pull. I will explain that in a video that explains JIT and GitHub. So issues is just like, okay, now let's take for example what he push contradicts what I pushed. Yeah, I think the way I'm using push might be kind of confusing, but just agree with me. Just like when I say what you push, what I save on the cloud is contradicting what you save in the cloud, then there will be then GitHub automatically dictate that and tell you that okay, there's an issue found in this. You'll be able to like discuss it and track the bug. So GitHub Actions, a CI or CLCT tool that allows you to automate building, testing, and deployment of project. So setting up a when I mean when they mean testing and development and deployment of projects is just like the www.so.com, and when you click on that, it shows the website. It means that website has been deployed from your local machine to the internet. That's the meaning. So setting up a GitHub repo, we have you go to the GitHub, you log in. If you now have a GitHub account, you can create one, and I will show you how to create one in the next video. So you open after you've upon creating a GitHub account, then you log in, click on a new repo. Is always on the screen. It's very easy to see. Then you name it whatever name you want, and you can choose either it's public or private. Now let me explain public or private to you. So when they say public or private, the private means this repo that you created is going to be only seen by you. But you can choose who you want to see it to. But public is seen by anybody that come across your account on GitHub will be able to see the public ones, public repo you've created. So you can also clone a repo by, okay, when I mean clone, it means you can actually duplicate a repository that has been created before. So this is how to clone it. I will show you in a more video. This is just a written down explanation. Then we've explained how to push in the Git aspect. You see the same thing, just different names, Git and GitHub. So a developer now on GitHub, there is also a feature that allows you to create a personal copy of somebody else's project. It's called forks of a repo. So you create a personal copy of somebody else's project with his permission, actually. So the person must have permitted you to do it. So once you click on it, it create a copy. So and GitHub best practice now. Common often makes more frequent commits with meaningful messages. It helps keep track and revert if necessary. So now commit often. So now let's take for example when they mean commit often. So when we talk about best practices, it's things you need to do to like make your work easier to do, to make your GitHub very easy to do to work with is number one, you have to commit often. When they make commit often, I make commit, when we explain commit, like giving it a unique ID that okay, this one, this specific file for today, this is the ID that I gave you. That's meaning of committing. So we need to do that often and often so that we'll be able to keep track of record. And whenever you want to revert changes, there won't be much changes you revert because you have committed steady, steady, steady. You need to like keep track of where your problem stopped, where it has started, where it begin from. So that's just why you need to commit often. Then use descriptive commit message. That is in that commit function up here, we explain something like, okay, git commit, describe what you change. So in this describe what you change, you have to specify the reason, the purpose of what you did in that commit. Okay, maybe the first commit you did was I created an hero section of the page. You write it there, I created an hero section of the page. Or maybe you are done with hero section, but you realize okay, there's a mistake there, and you need to go back to the hero section. Then you now write when you commit that you corrected the mistake, and you don't want to push that mistake. You want to like push the mistake to the want to push the corrected stuff online. Then you now commit again. You now be like, okay, now by hero section already created, but made changes to so. It can be as long as possible. It is your choice. Just making sure that you describe and you explain what you did there. And the reason is because you'll be able to track it that okay, this is what I did on this so day. For you to know that, okay, this might be where the mistake came from. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So branch naming. So you can use descriptive name for your branch. Features, bug fix, main, master, anything you like, in as much it helps you identify what you're doing. Then pull request and code review. So always create a pull request for changes and seek feedback through code review before merging. Yeah, now I explained something about collaborating with a lot of things, with a lot of people. So if you collaborate with a lot of people and they made changes, so that your change might contradict what the other person did. That is why pull request is always and code review is always essential. So once you are trying to combine what you and that person is doing, you have to like make a pull request. That is, you will check it, compare the changes he made and the changes you made so that you will be able to see, you foresee what might cause contradiction when you push it. Don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So we will explain better in the practical aspect. There'll be like 2, 3 videos that will explain how to use JIT totally. So now GitHub and GitHub for team collaboration. Using JIT and GitHub in team collaboration coordination in team requires coordination. That is, each member works on their own branch regularly, synchronize their work with the main branch. So that is, if there is a collaboration, you need to be coordinated. There will be a main branch which every other branches can be merged to. Like let's say for example, I have a branch of Fenry, I have another branch of technologies. So and but I must have a main branch. That is, whenever I make changes to Fenry, I make another changes to technologies, I'll be able to match those two in the main aspect. So and that requires you to be able to like coordinate things very well. Not like you will do things without each other's content, without scrutinizing each other's work very well. So merge conflict. Sometimes two people will multiply the same line of code, leading to a merge conflict. JIT helps identify this conflict and allows developer to resolve them before merging. Now let's take for example, eventually after JIT review, after pull request and code review, we still made the mistake of contradicting each other in the code. Automatically, once GitHub detects that okay, these two thing is the same thing, is the same changes, you make the same changes on the same line, you make changes on the same line of code, and there is a merge conflict, then to identify that this is a conflict here, this is contradicting each other and might affect your work, JIT will identify it for you, then you fix it. That's what JIT does. And conclusion, understanding JIT and GitHub is crucial for any developer as they are industry standard tool for version control and collaboration. By mastering JIT basic command and learning how to use JIT for remote repository, pull request, code review, we will effectively merge your code base and collaborate with other effectively. So what this means is you need to understand JIT and GitHub. GitHub and JIT course, version control is a course on its own. We only just used to explain a brief aspect of it why people go and learn more about it later on. And this is because it is very wide than even explained. It is a very wide thing. GitHub and JIT is a very wide aspect. There are a lot of things we can use JIT and JIT to do, and which means you have to master the basic so that by the time you start collaborating with people, you start getting advanced on it, you won't have problem. You'll be able to like follow the pace and like flow with others. So that's basically what this video is going to be all about, explaining what JIT and GitHub is all about. So I hope you understand, and see you in the next video. Thank you very much.